Black History Month you find
Ridiculous.
why?
You're going to relegate my history to a month?
Oh, come on.
What do you do with yours? Which month is White History Month? No,
Well-
come on, tell me.
Well, I'm Jewish.
Okay, which month is Jewish History Month?
There isn't one.
Oh, why not?
Yeah.
Do you want one?
No.
No, I don't either. I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history.
How are we going to get rid of racism?
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man. I know you as Mike Wallace. You know me as Morgan Freeman. You're going to say, well, I know this white guy named Mike Wallace. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
First, I want to thank everybody that has subscribed, liked, commented. I appreciate everything that you've said. No matter what you've said, I appreciate the likes. Please share this with your friends. Make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you hit that share button. We're trying to make sure that everybody know that they're not victims, that they're empowered for greatness, that we can make a difference again in this nation. That we can stand up for biblical values, we can stand up for truth and push back against all the lies and everything that's false that's taking place in this land. So I appreciate that. And please, thank you for looking at my videos and participating and making our voice known. Black history is American history. As we are about to wrap up the celebration of Black History Month, we need to recognize that Black history is American history. And we need to recognize the fact that as we continue to talk up the atrocities, to talk up the misfortune that has played a part in the history of America without simultaneously talking about the triumph, without simultaneously talking about the achievements that have been made by Black people in this nation, we will continue to accept the crumbs that are given to us by the liberal media and by progressive leftists who always want to keep us in the box of oppression, to keep their finger on us, to keep us in bondage. They want to do that because they're continuing to use us as pawns in their political game. Where is the outroar during this month regarding the crime that has escalated in our cities? Where's the outroar this month in terms of the abortions, the killing of the innocents? Where is the outroar this month when it comes to the lack of political capital, the lack of economic opportunity, the lack of educational opportunity, the effects of the pandemic on Black children in particular that have been relegated to these public schools because these Democratic controlled states and cities do not allow the opportunity to progress? Where is the outrage with that? We as Black people have been conditioned to vote for people that do not have our best interests in mind. We have been conditioned to vote for people that are not pro-elevation of us economically. They are not pro-elevation of us educationally. They are not pro-elevation of us as a family unit. These people want to destroy our community, and yet we are enabling them. We are enabling poison to seep into our communities through music, through hip hop. The fact that you can have the codifying of murder of Black men in music, and yet nobody wants to speak out about it. Nobody wants to say anything negative about it. We gloss over that. And this also applies to quote unquote Black conservatives. And I hate using the term Black conservative. I'm a biblical individual. I stand on biblical values. That's what I stand on. If that's considered conservative in your eyes, so be it. I stand on biblical values. Biblical values are a strong family. Biblical values are educational opportunity. Biblical values are economic opportunities. Biblical values are religious freedom. Biblical values are those things that are important to God. That's what I stand on. That's what I emphasize, and that's what I promote. And those are things that we should be promoting, especially in this month of February. Those are ideals that we should be elevating, because those are the ideals that allowed us to suffer and thrive and excel and achieve in the midst of true segregation, in the midst of true oppression, in the midst of true discrimination. It was those things that allowed us to stay together, to stay intact. It was that. It wasn't handouts from the government. It wasn't free contraceptives from the government. It wasn't free government cheese that allowed us to achieve. No, it was hard work, ingenuity, faith, and determination that allowed us to achieve and grow and become a powerful bloc in this nation. But yet we have become stagnant because we have allowed liberal thinkers, liberal politicians, liberal media, the liberals in the entertainment industry to tell us what it means to be black, to tell us what our history is. We have to stop that. Our history is more than just hip hop and rap music. Our history is more than just what we've done in the entertainment industry. Our history is more than that. Our history is based upon biblical truth that we have applied into our lives, that we did apply. That the civil rights movement used biblical truths and used those to force this country to live up to its ideals. But yet, instead of doing that right now, we are looking to deconstruct this country. We are being pushed in the direction to deconstruct and destroy ourselves. That's the direction we're being pushed in. And that is not healthy for us, and that is not profitable for us. We must return to our roots. As we're about to conclude another Black history, we must return to our roots. We are not victims. And we must push back against anybody and anyone that wants to portray us as victims. We must push back against critical race theory. We must push back against systemic racism, that narrative, because all that does is continue to project victimization on us. We have to push back against those things. Those things do not reflect us. They are not healthy for us. They are poison to us. They do nothing but degrade us and tear us down. Why do we elevate the elements of our culture that degrade and tear us down? Why do we allow people to elevate portions of our culture that degrade us and tear us down? When was the last time you saw a Black family celebrated? When was the last time you saw a Black man who was doing something positive in a community celebrated? No, you know the people that are celebrated? People like Colin Kaepernick, people that are like rappers that shoot and kill each other. That's what's elevated and celebrated in the Black culture. And my friends, that should not be so. That should not be so. We need a reckoning in the Black community. We need a realization. We need to know that this trajectory that we're on will only lead us to destruction. And that's the path that we're headed on. I've said this before. The powers that be, the spiritual forces, they want to drive Jesus out of the Black community. That is their aim. That is their goal. And so that's why they are constantly pushing this poison of victimization, constantly pushing this poison of systemic racism down our throats. So for this Black History Month, let's finish this Black History Month being introspective. Let's finish this Black History Month truly elevating the achievements of our society and understanding that Black history is American history. And let's see it as such. And let's understand that we're not separate from America. We are a part of America. That we are part of the fabric of America. And let's stop elevating and emphasizing the times in our history when we faced atrocities and when we were mistreated and abused and hurt. That's all true. But let's also teach the times when we overcame, when we were focused on achieving things that were greater than what we were facing at the time. When our forefathers looked forward, they looked forward They saw the atrocities, but they look forward to a greater day. That's what we need to elevate. Those are the things that we need to uplift. Not victimization. We don't need to constantly talk about how we're victims, how we're oppressed. We are not marginalized. We have allowed ourselves to be marginalized because we have voted for people that do not have our best interests in mind. Black people, we are conservative. Black people, we are pro-business. Black people, we are pro-family. We are. Black people, we are pro-Bible. But yet we have allowed outside influences to put people in our community who are contrary to those values. And we must reject those people because that is not going to allow us to achieve. You've seen over the last 50, 60 years that mentality, that philosophy, that ideology has not led to achievement in our community. It has led to destruction. Why don't we try something different this Black History Month? Why don't we try pro-capitalism? Why don't we try pro-freedom? Why don't we try pro-God? Why don't we try pro-Bible solutions and see where that gets us? Because prior to the last 50 and 60 years, that caused us to have thriving communities, even in the midst of oppression, even in the midst of Jim Crow, even in the midst of hostility towards us. Let's try that. This Black History Month, let's try those things and see how they work out for us. Because we are not victims. We are not victims. We are empowered for greatness. Thank you so much for liking your comments and subscribing to the channel. Please share this with your friends. Smash that like button. Smash the subscription bell. Share this with everybody you know. We're trying to make sure people understand that they're not victims, that they are empowered for greatness, and all this stuff that's out here that's telling them otherwise is false and will not benefit them in the end. So please, I appreciate that. Share that.